So today I want to share with you information about credit. And I have the guest speaker today, Tim, who is in the waiting room, bringing him in. Hello, Tim. He is joining. And well, okay. So we have a different Tim today. Very exciting. Nice to meet you, Tim.
It is my pleasure. Good afternoon.
Even the voice is different. So we have the theme this month of having fun while sharing valuable information, and Tim decided to go ahead and bring that avatar. So thank you so much, Tim. But I know you're an expert on a topic that's very important in mortgage, which is credit. So we are able
Absolutely.
to stay focused. We'd love for you to join us as the actual human that you are.
Let's do that. And here we go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. The
Good
real me.
afternoon, Tim. Yes, the real you, the expert in credit. So, Tim, thank you so much for being a yes to sharing your business, what you do, and you're about to share your background. And we've known each other since I pretty much moved to Fort Lauderdale in 2019. And I think we've met through the Chamber or Tower Club, one of those networking opportunities. But you recently came into my Rotary Club as Chris's guest. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great information he's sharing. And I was so into it that I forgot to hit record. And I'm the one who records for our team, for the group. And I appreciate you coming back in and sharing with me one on one so we can provide information to realtors, even lenders who are on my platform, as well as, of course, the homeowner who is looking to buy their home and may have some credit questions. This is an overview, so definitely you book a time with Tim if you need more information. But then also for people who are self-employed who are looking to do credit under their business, Tim also has that whole array of service. So Tim, without ado, go ahead and tell us more about you and feel free to share your screen.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So let me share my screen here. Let's see how I can share my presentation. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to actually go through the presentation. I'll kind of use it as a talking point. We'll just go ahead and start from the beginning, of course, Umbrella Credit Services. And I like how you introduced me because I wanted to say to you, we do everything under the umbrella of credit. You almost said it. He does this, he does that. And the name was not invented from that reason, but it actually comes to be today. So I'm able to say to everybody, everything under the umbrella of credit we actually do. And you can see there I'm the founder. I also have a business partner. And I mentioned him because he actually is fantastic, amazing. We complement each other, and he also speaks Spanish. So we
Which is
cover
very
that part of the
powerful
market,
for me.
which is powerful, especially in South Florida or anywhere actually these days. So it's really good. But I always tell everybody, who is this person and why should we want to listen to him, right? Your listeners are probably saying, well, who is this guy? We know he's the co-founder of Umbrella Credit, but I always like to tell everybody I'm an Ohio transplant. A lot of people like that, especially down here in South Florida, when you're a transplant from the Midwest. It puts a whole different spin. I'm a Deerfield Beach resident. So I've moved up the coast a little bit from the Fort Lauderdale area where you and I had met. I love it
So
up
for
here.
those, because I also have a lot of clients and connections in Georgia, so Deerfield Beach, to put it in the map, it's just probably like an hour and a half or 2 hours from Miami, depending on where Miami and where in Deerfield specifically. But it's
Yeah, it's
South Florida.
yeah, and actually it's only like 20 minutes from Fort Lauderdale. So it's right up, there's Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, and then there's us.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close. Member of Toastmasters. I love saying that. It's something that I love and thrive and do well in, and it's helped me in my presentations. For example, what we're doing right now, it's a great organization. Not to promote it or do it, but it is something I tell everybody I do. Also, you can see I'm very active down here in South Florida. We're members of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, Welton Manors Business Association, Oak Park Business Association, and New River Business Exchange. I don't think I can fit another acronym in my life right now with all that business, but we get our name out there. So we tell everybody what we do and who we are. So I do have experience. This is what I like to talk about too, because when someone calls me, they're like, well, okay, we know who you are, but what do you do and how do we know that you can do this, right? What gives you the right to be able to do this and help us? 20 years as a lender. Actually, it's almost 25, so I put 20 so I don't seem as old, but it's 20, almost 20. And I worked for Fifth Third Bank, PNC Bank, and Bank of America.
Got it.
Fifth Third Bank for 15 years. That's where I grew up in banking. I like to say that. But half of my career was in retail. And back in those days, you could walk into the branch, fill out an application, and the person across from the desk approved your loan. Remember those days? That's
Yeah,
what
so
I did.
yeah, and I actually never really worked for, I did work for Wells Fargo, but I still was in the mortgage branch, not an actual bank
Right.
branch. So the experience is a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after that, halfway through my banking career, I switched over to mortgage like you did. And I was working for National City, who got bought out by PNC Bank, but I was in their mortgage department. So I wasn't in a branch. That was where I got most of my experience. And like I said, as a branch manager, I underwrote all types of loans. And then as a mortgage loan officer, and this is you, I
Hmm.
originated FHA, VA, conventional, and also we did portfolio loans that we kept, serviced ourselves at the bank. And that's where I got my mortgage experience. And I love that because a lot of my clients come to me wanting to get a mortgage.
Right.
So I already know what they're looking for and what you're looking for as a loan officer. And this is one of the favorite things I loved. I actually did first time homebuyer training seminars. I was the chair of the Affordable Housing Committee in Columbus, Ohio. And
Ah,
I got to do first time homebuyer training seminars. I help people get their first home. I still today get cards from people, Christelle, thanking me for that. I'll
that's
never
cute.
forget. It was a great experience. And that's where I learned credit.
So you're a relationship guy,
So
not
I'm
just the
totally
numbers
a
and the credit
relationship guy.
report.
Absolutely. Because I tell everybody, credit repair is boring, right? But I try to make it as fun as possible. And we're going to get to know each other through the process. And that's how I get to know my affiliate partners as well. Because you know what? People like to do business with people they like and trust.
Yeah, so we
And
can
that's,
have fun, like even bringing a cow avatar to start
yeah,
a
exactly.
recording.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I just want to say before we go on, because people are going to see this, you and I are high energy. You and I like to talk. And oftentimes I'll catch myself talking over somebody because I get excited. And you and I do that with each other, but I still hear you and I still understand what you're saying. So we have that good communication, but it's going to be exciting as we go through this. See, even credit is boring, but we're going to make it fun.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I went to school. I like to tell everybody I went to the real Miami University because there's a University of Miami. And I do have some certificates of achievement here, most of them coming from the Credit Repair Academy and the American Credit Repair Academy. And this is my business partner. I'll just briefly let you know who he is. Yeah, he's the better looking guy of the two of us, I guess you could say. And he actually was born in Cuba and he speaks Spanish. He's a founder of a renowned foundation, which is a nonprofit. We don't talk degrees because look at that. He's a doctor. I don't like to compare my degrees to him. And also, his mission is to make a difference in the lives of others. And that's what brought him to us, to me, because he likes to do that. And he wanted to join somebody in the credit repair service industry. And that was me. I'm going to go over that's his professional experience. He's got a lot of that, you can see. And he's got some great education as well and some achievements in his field as well. So you can see we're very, very well qualified, both of
Right.
us together. Now, this is something I love to say. Umbrella Credit Services is a full service credit consulting firm. We're a team of ethical credit service professionals with the standards of excellence. And Christelle, you've been in the business for a while in mortgages. You've probably ran
25.
across a company here or there, right, that wasn't so ethical, maybe, or didn't have that standards of excellence. Unfortunately, in my business, not everybody has that, but we like to pride ourselves with that. And what did you say? 25?
Mm-hmm. 25
25
years.
years?
Yes.
You can't be, you're not that old.
It's my birthday this month too, so yeah. Let's
Oh,
not
well,
let's keep going. Mission statement.
I love it. Yeah, this is our business day. Well, there we go. We won't talk about birthdays or ages. This is our mission. We help individuals and businesses build, restore, and protect their credit. We customize a program specifically for their needs. And our core values, I love this. We actually did all this when I formed the organization. Honesty, integrity, and doing what's right for the customer.
Yeah,
That's
that's
truly
important.
how we operate our business. And this is a little video, and I want to see, I hope it does come through. And you let me know if it doesn't, if you can hear it. But this will tell you in a minute who we are and what we do exactly. I'm Kevin Harrington, an original shark from Shark Tank. Certain life events happen that are beyond your control, and they can really throw a wrench into your plans. Allow Umbrella Credit Services to assist you on your journey as they're dedicated to helping individuals build, restore, and protect their credit. Umbrella Credit Services works with credit bureaus and your creditors to challenge the negative report items that affect your credit score. They can help you improve your credit,
maintain your raised score, and accomplish your dreams. It's their mission to change lives one credit report at a time. They understand everyone's needs are different, which is why they customize a plan that's just for you. You'll work with an assigned credit specialist on a month-to-month basis until you've reached your credit goals. No matter where you are today, it's never too late. Umbrella Credit Services is here to show you that you can get the credit you deserve for the life you desire. Visit umbrellacreditservices.com to contact them for a free consultation.
There we go. Okay, end of
That's it.
presentation.
Talking to high energy, that's high energy too.
He really is. And that was a thrill and an honor to get to work with him. And my
Hmm.
business partner and I were contacted during COVID, and somebody in his office used our services. Believe it or not. I'm like, wow. And he said we wanted to do something different because you know how the sharks on Shark Tank work with people with products. He wanted to do something in the service industry that was crucial and beneficial to the COVID situation. And that's when we did all this. And it was just an honor to work with him. We still stay in contact with him, and we have the licensing right to that commercial for life. So that's ours, and we're very
Wow,
proud of it. It's
that's
funny because when people see it too, they'll think, oh, they'll say, oh, you're a franchise. Because they think he's the franchise owner and we're a franchise. No, that's our company. He did our commercial for us.
nice.
So this is our website if you go to our homepage. And the reason I bring this up, Crystal, again, it's to give us credibility to show you we have an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. I tell everybody that's my report card. So I'm going to make
Hmm.
sure we keep that grade. Also, expertise.com rated us as one of the best credit repair companies. That's 2023. We also have 2024 this year as well. And we're a proud member of the Chamber of Commerce here locally.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So now what do we do? Umbrella Credit Services, we actually do individual credit repair. You'd mentioned business credit building. We help businesses build their credit on their EIN number so they don't have to worry so much about doing personal guarantees all the time. That's a big part of our business. Also, we do debt settlement, student loan consolidations, and we have an attorney that we refer our business of bankruptcies and consumer debt litigation to as well. So we're a full service under the umbrella of credit. This next screen here, I want to go over because this applies to everybody in the audience, everybody listening. If you're a realtor, you're a lender, you're a consumer, because guess what's on the rise, and you know this from your business, is identity theft, right? When we do credit repair, we have to have credit monitoring where we get all the credit reports each month. And that's how we dispute and base what we're going to do the next month based on that credit report. We use a company called Credit Hero Score, among a couple others, but it's a credit monitoring service, and we encourage everybody to get one if you don't have one. We get it for you at a discount as well. And it shows you in this particular company here, you get to monitor your credit, protect your credit, and then achieve your goals. And they also give you identity theft protection. It's underwritten through AIG, a real insurance company, and you get that
Hmm.
policy just in case. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have that identity theft, and they're not going to be prepared for it. So if you have something like this, they tell you right away if somebody pulls your credit or changes an address on one of your bank accounts, or anything like that. So it's very important to have that. And it's very easy to cancel. And like, again, you want to take control of your credit, and that's a great company that we use. All right. So now that you know who we are, right, and what we're going to talk about here, let us help you close more deals. I love this when I go into a realtor office, or if I go into a mortgage loan office and we talk about this, we want you to know we're going to help you close more deals, right? There's my business partner and myself. We were at an expo outside in Oakland Park down here in Florida. You can see our banner there, all the things that we do cover and help. That was a great event. So let us help you turn your turn downs into approvals. Now, this is specifically geared towards the mortgage industry and even the realtors who are working with clients who refer them over to people like yourself.
Right.
So you're like, how do we turn denied applicants into approvals? That's a big question. And the way we do that, here's the facts. This is huge. Over 79% of credit reports have errors on them. So that's 4 out of 5. It's crazy, but it's true. And most consumers do not understand the system, right? So we're very good. We're trained at explaining how the system works and how to read their credit reports. And also the errors that impact approvals, as you know. And you can say I played with the when I was doing my PowerPoint, they're all going to submit. No one is happy with denials, right? Consumers, us, you, nobody is. So Now, the
I
way
do
we
have a
work,
quick question for you. Can you go back to that
absolutely,
right before, please?
I
And
sure
and
can.
you're right. The fact that a client is sometimes I actually have clients who don't want to reply because they're afraid of hearing you're not approved. So
Yeah.
to and that fear of denial. And to I tell them it's not a denial per se. It's like let's work on what you need to focus on so you can get to the pre-approval status. When you say that a lot of errors that can impact the approval, a lot of times clients think, well, if I get my credit pulled, um, that's going to really shut my credit. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great point. And I should have brought that up earlier because when you have a credit monitoring company, you can pull your credit as many times as you want. Anyone is able to pull their credit because it's your own pool. You're not applying for hard credit,
Hmm.
right? You're not applying for a loan or a credit card. You just want to see your own credit report. The law allows you to see your credit report as many times as you want. Consumers can go to annualcreditreport.com, and that's a free service. I'm sure you know that as well.
Yes.
They get
Hmm.
their credit reports free. It used to be years ago, you got one credit report free per year, or when you were denied credit. Now, because of COVID and they still have it going on, you can get a free credit report every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It might be too often, but you can do that. So you can go and get
Yes.
a credit report, every month or however often you want to get that. But again, to your point, when you do that, it does not affect your personal credit scores whatsoever.
Hmm.
Very good.
Now, like, because we're able to do a soft pull when a client applies, I'd usually like to do that first because once we do a hard pull, the client ends up having a lot of calls from competitions, or basically they're buying the credit
Oh,
access or data
mhm.
from the bureaus and they're thinking we sold it. I'm like, no, we didn't. However, I encourage them to go ahead and go online and block all those inquiries or spams. But even if I do a hard pull, in the, I don't think you have it for today, but just in the top of your head, an inquiry, I mean, is that going to really just bring a client who was at a 700 out to maybe 100 points lower?
Right. That's a great point. And no, here's what it is. Credit inquiries account for 10% of your score.
10%.
That's all, 10%. Right. Also, whenever someone's pulling their credit to get a loan and for a mortgage or a car, either one of those, guess what? You want to shop around. You want to get the best rate. So you don't want to be penalized. And what they allow you to do, the credit bureaus, you can shop around all you want. There's like a 14-day window where every time your credit is pulled, the only one that's counting against you is the first pull.
Got it.
And so the credit bureaus see that industry. So if they went to get a car loan, for example, and that dealer, it's called shotgunning. They send that credit report out to like 7 or 10 banks or even more, and they
Hmm.
all pull the credit. Only that first inquiry is actually hurting their credit score, and not even hurting. It's 10% of your score, and one credit inquiry is going to take you down a few points.
Got it. Thank you for that
Also
clarification.
important to know, maybe you knew this, is the credit inquiries will stay on your credit report for 2 years, 24 months, but they only affect your score for 12 months.
Mm,
Once they're a year old, they're still on the bureau, but they don't affect your score.
got it.
So good to know.
Thank you. Yes. And while you're on that of inquiries, whenever a client applies, we do ask them to explain what the inquiries are, just so we can make sure that by the time they had an inquiry, and let's say it was a CarMax or a car company, and by the time we pull credits, they could have a lag time of when they're actually reporting any new debt. And that's when sometimes we tell clients, don't touch anything, don't inquire anything, just let it be, because if you do have an inquiry while you're in process, it would actually impact if and we'll know
Oh,
whether or not there's
Christina,
a new
you're
debt.
right. I can tell you a couple stories when I was doing mortgages, and I'm sure it's happened to you if you've been in the business that long. You get to the closing table and they pull credit. Like mortgage companies will pull credit the day of the closing sometimes or the day before to make sure there's no more credit inquiries. I've had clients go out and buy furniture the day before the
Hmm.
closing, and all these credit inquiries are on there. Well, guess what happens? They have to go back to underwriting.
That's
And
right.
you got to stop the closing, go back and underwrite. If they had a new loan, you got to include that debt in their
Yes.
debt to income ratios. It's
And that can
crazy.
kill the deal. Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like, no, no, so please, anybody listening, if you're buying a house, do what Christelle says. Do not
They're
do
not
anything
doing
with your
any.
credit until you
Mhm.
close. After you close and you sign on a dotted line, you can go out there and buy your furniture. Just don't do
Exactly.
it before that closing.
Yep. Yep.
Great
Got it.
point.
Thank you.
Yo, thank you. That was a great point. Good. All righty. So now, how do we get things removed? This is a big deal because you'll hear people say, I had my bankruptcy removed, or they were able to remove a a judgment or a repossession or even a foreclosure. How does that happen? What happens is this. There's three ways to get items removed on the credit report. Number one is it's got to be timely. So if it's not timely, it's got to be removed. If something's still on the credit report that is greater than 7 years old past the date of last activity, except for a bankruptcy, a chapter 7 will stay on there for 10 years, and then a chapter 13 will stay on there for 7 years, right? Once it's closed. But the other stuff that's on there, it has to be 7 years or less. If it's over 7 years, it's got to be removed. Also, verifiable information. This is the big one. We ask the bureaus to verify the information. We're not saying this is not mine. We're saying, please verify this account here. Please verify this collection. Please verify this judgment. They have 30 days to verify that, Christelle. If the bureaus cannot get it verified in 30 days, they have to remove it.
Mm.
That's how we
That's how
get
they
things.
remove items. Got it.
And then this is the biggest one, 100% accurate information. Per the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you're entitled and should have all of your credit reported fairly and accurately. If it's incorrect, if it's the wrong account number, if it's the wrong account type, the date of last activity is incorrect, the balance is incorrect, the payment is incorrect, that's how we get things removed. So my team is trained to look at those bureaus side by side and see if there's any differences, right? And that's how we send letters in every month. We say, this is the wrong balance, this is the wrong date of last activity, and that's how we get those things removed because it's not accurate. We're not saying it's not theirs,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if it's an account that's derogatory, that's hurting them from getting their mortgage, especially if it's an old account that had a few slow pays on it, we're going to do everything we can in our power if it's reporting incorrectly because the law allows that to get that removed for the consumer. And those are the three ways you get things removed.
Can I ask you a question on that? And
Yes,
thanks for clearly explaining how they actually, because I never really knew exactly how. I mean, I knew it was looking for information, but I didn't know exactly what you just shared. So thank you.
exactly.
The details. And so what if you're able to go ahead and remove the debt from the credit? Can they, the creditor, go back and re-report it with the
Very
correct
good.
information?
So you're bringing up another point too. First, I'll say this. If the debt is removed from the credit bureau, it does not mean we remove the debt from the consumer. They still owe the debt. It's just not reporting on the bureau.
Mhm.
That's important. I always make sure the customers know that because they'll think, well, it's gone off my credit, so I don't owe it anymore. No, it's just not reporting, right? That's the first part about that. The second thing is, yes, they can put it back on. They have to notify the client within 5 business days that they're going to reinsert. It's called a reinsertion
Okay.
to reinsert it. I will tell you, in all my years of doing this, very, very, very few have ever done that. Maybe two or three in the past, 7 or 8 years that
Hmm.
we've had our company. So it's very rare.
Okay.
It's a lot of work to do it. And plus, they have to legally make sure that they tell the client. If they do not do that, then they're in violation. And then we get it removed anyways. So very good point.
Thank
The
you.
other thing I want to bring up too is we have an attorney on staff, and a lot of credit repair companies use an attorney, a credit repair or a credit attorney who works with the FCRA and the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Those are two laws we work with. And what they do is they ensure that the collection agencies, because a lot of people come to us with collections, are collecting legally, right? If there's anything they're doing illegal, we send a letter from our attorney that says this account is being represented by our attorney. If that company then reaches out to the client after they've received our letter, they're in violation. Our attorney sues them, they get it removed from the credit report, and they get the debt released in most cases. So we also use our attorney, that's a part of our services as well.
Awesome.
So
Thanks for the details.
good stuff. So guess what? We are not your typical credit repair company. I love telling people this. I say that's me, my business partner. I'm the tall one. Not one size does not fit all. Focus on education. This is my favorite part of what I do, and I tell everybody that we actually meet with our clients on a monthly basis and we do educate them. We don't want them coming back to us for the same reasons. Sometimes customers come back, but we want it to be for a different reason because we want to educate them and empower them once they leave us to be able to go to you, to go to a car dealership or a bank and know that they're empowered with a great credit score and information to get what they want. And we assist in rebuilding. This is one of the things I like to do as well. We actually help customers rebuild, and in some cases down here, Christelle, and maybe up there, wherever you're at, where you are, is to build credit. For example, if you're coming out of college, you never had credit, you got to build credit. How do
Mhm.
you get credit if you don't have credit? We teach them how to do that. What if you're coming from another country and you had credit when you were down in South America, but up here it's different. You don't have any credit. We teach you how to do that as well. And we do have a money back guarantee. We actually All right. And we provide solutions. That's a big deal. We don't just leave you hanging. Whether you're building your credit, repairing your credit, or maintaining your credit, we're going to provide you a solution in any case. And the solution, talking about the solution. Here we go, turning denied applicants into approvals. First,
Tim,
what do we
can I
have?
ask you a quick question? Um,
Yeah.
on an average, let's say somebody who's looking to buy, and you probably don't have a number because it depends on the situation, but how long could it take someone to go from a denied to now pre-approval or ready to move forward? What
No,
would be
Crystal,
the
that's a fair question, and thank you for asking that because the client asks that as well. How long is it going to take me? Right? There's no set time frame per se. The average client stays with us about 6 months.
okay?
Okay. Now, I've had clients come to me, and I've got one right now that there's two little items on their credit bureau. They're probably not going to be here for 6 months, right? It's something that we needed to work on together that they couldn't do on their own, but we can get it done in a couple of months. And then I've got clients. I had one this afternoon as well, and she has 17 derogatory accounts, and she knows she's going to be with us for a while because
Hmm.
it's going to take time to get all this done. But I would say on average, I would bet 6 months.
Okay, awesome.
Be
Thank you.
safe. Sure. So when we have these denied clients, right? Denied applicants, I'm sorry, and we turn them into approvals, we have happier customers. You like that, and we like that as well. It's no cost to you. So if you're a referral partner, an affiliate partner, that would be a realtor, that would be a mortgage lender, anybody who sends us business, a car dealership. We work with a couple down here in South Florida. They send us deals as well. It doesn't cost them anything. We're going to take care of the client, get them prepared, and then get them back to you as soon as possible. And what does that do? That gives you more revenue and more referrals because you're going to have that client is going to be happy. You got them approved, and they're going to send their family members to you as well. And it's all about the relationships, as you mentioned early on.
Yes.
How does it work? Right? So we offer denied applicants a solution. We do a free analysis and consultation. This is big, Christelle. We will do this for everybody who calls us. We'll do a free analysis. We'll pull all three credit bureaus. We'll go through them together. We'll offer what we can do to them. We'll tell them one of three things can happen when we meet with a client. Either they're going to say to us, "Thank you. That's where I thought I was. I've got great credit. Everything looks pretty good. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you." And they're on their way. Or there's a few things that are on there, and I'll say, listen, if you did this and if you did that, that's all you've got to do. And you don't even have to hire us. I'm telling you that, because that's what I do. I'm going to give you some free advice. I'm going to give you some guidance here, and this is all you need to do. You don't need to hire us if you want to do that, and you're on your way. Or we tell them everything we can do, and they say, I don't want to do all that. I don't want to handle it. Could you please handle it for us? And then they hire us to do it. Because everything I do, you can do. Anything that I do, the client can do, right? It's all there. But they probably don't know the laws as well, the FDCPA or the FCRA, and they may not have an attorney that we can send an attorney letter for, and they may not have the time. They just say, I don't want to deal with it. So, but we do that free analysis every single time. And we use the federal laws as we talked about earlier, the FDCPA and the FCRA. And we focus on increased scores in education. That's truly what our focus is. Now, the requirements, you're just like, okay, Tim, how do we do this? Right? How's this going to work for us? How do we do this and how do we make it happen? Refer your denials to us. Take 3 minutes to upload them. And I'm going to show you how you can do that or tell you how you can do that. And then we contact them as soon as possible. So what happens is this. We actually have a program. It's called an advanced client portal. If you're an affiliate, Christella, say for example, you're an affiliate partner of us, you send us business, you can log into your portal. You have your own portal. And you log in there and it takes 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes, to put the information in from the client: name, address, phone number, email, any notes that you might have for us. And then you upload it instantaneously. We get notified right away. You've got a lead. You've got a lead. You got to contact them. So we call the customer right away. That's how this portal works. Now, you're front and center. What that means is this: when when they become a client, you referred someone to us, we call them, we do the consultation, they hire us, and now they're a client. When we open up the portal for them, I'm automatically going to say referred by Christelle. Then when I connect that, when they go into their portal, every single time they log in, guess what? They see your picture. They see your company name. They're reminded every single time, hey, this is who referred. And guess what else? When I talk to them, I say to them, you're getting pretty close. Christelle's waiting on you. We got to make sure that you're getting this done so that they know. Because I'll tell you what happens in the business, and I've been there where you are. It happens, unfortunately, sometimes where once they graduate, they say, oh, my sister's a realtor now. I'm just going to go to her. Or, my friend actually is doing loans now over at ABC Bank, and I'm going to go to him for the loan. And I say, well, Christelle's the one that got you pre-approved, or she's the one that's pre-approving you, got you into us, to work with us. She's really expecting you to come back to her. And I kind of do it that way to give them the courtesy, let them know, at least consider her. And that way you got the opportunity because, people shop around and there's no allegiance in our business. But this portal, you got your own portal, they've got their own portal, and together you can see each other. Also in your portal, Christelle, you can log in and get the status. You can see where they are in the process. So you know when they're getting close to graduating, but we also let you know that as well.
Which
And it's
gives
full
me,
transparency.
Mhm. I was going to say, I love that because it also gives me an opportunity to touch base. Because, like you said, it's remaining visible, not just with my
Yeah.
picture being there, because it's to keep that relationship, and get to closing. I mean, in the end, if they have a family member that they prefer to work with, we can't change that, but we're doing the best to remain visible. And that's great to know. Hey, you're almost there. Keep them
Yeah.
encouraged because clients do get discouraged, thinking, well, this is not for me, and just let go. But at least in this process, they stay engaged. So thanks, that's awesome.
Yeah, and also, what's a good idea too, just come to think of it, when you're getting like we could send you a monthly report if you wanted. We do have a realtor, we do, or a mortgage loan company that we do send them a monthly report because they send us so many referrals. We could do that for anybody who asks for that. But you also can log into the portal and see, and one of the things you could do is, hey, I see you're doing very well over there. Umbrella Credit's got, I get updates on you and you're almost there, and just wanted you to know we're ready for you when you get done. Do you have anything else, any other questions that you might want to ask me? You want to prepare for this, get this documentation ready because we're going to need it when you come back. Kind of a touch point, like you
Right.
said. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to keep them in front of you,
Yes.
which is more
Agree.
likely. And we just said it, know when your clients are ready, and you're going to know that way up front. So it's a win-win for everybody. What we do is a win-win, right? It's an easy process. You can just log right in there and put your information in. And honestly, Crystal, I do have some realtors and mortgage companies that just text me, hey, call Joe Smith. Here's his number. He's really interested. It's a warm lead right now. And we'll do that. I'll put the lead in for you. You don't have to worry about that. Get customers approved. That's what we do. Close the deal. You get to close the deal, right? More closings for you and more commissions. So it's a win-win for all of us. And you can't lose when you do that. So we want you to join us today. Like I said, you get to receive monthly updates. You have login access to check your referrals 24/7. Access to us via our personal cell phone. Me and my business partner, you have our cell phone. You can text us, you can call us, or email us. And you already know that from the experience that you and I have working together. And we are ready for your referrals now, this very minute. So, with that being said, what questions do you have for me? And there's my contact information. If you call that 888 number, that's our toll-free number, you actually get a prompt that says press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. If you press 1 for English, you're going to get me. If I'm not available, you'll get my business partner because he speaks English also. And if he's not available, you get our assistant, Michael, and so on and so forth. Somebody will answer. If you press 2, you're going to get my business partner, Andy's, and he's going to speak to you in Spanish. You can go to our website there, umbrellacreditservices.com. Lots of information. You can go in where it says sign up. You can click on where it says get my free consultation right now. And you just fill out a few information forms on there, or a few information items on there. And one of us will contact you to get you set up for your free consultation. And my calendar is open. So is my business partner. So once you're a client, We give you our calendar, and anytime you want to schedule an appointment with us, you just hop on the calendar and do it. We make it very easy for you. And truly, Christel, you know me, you know this business, you know how we operate. I have a true passion for helping people because I've been there. I've been everywhere from A to Z and credit and back. So if my client has that situation, I've probably been through it myself. And it makes it easier for me to work with them. But it's my true passion to help people to get the credit they deserve for the life they desire. As Kevin Harrington said in our commercial, which we did help him write that. So that was very good to say. But with that, I'm open to any questions that you have for me and anything else you
Yeah.
want me to cover.
Well, thank you so much for this detailed information. And as you said, very transparent because you also mentioned if somebody want to do it themselves, they can, but you provide the service for those who are not savvy or don't feel savvy enough to do it and know that they can do it and handle it like professionals. And the attorneys that you have connections with and you work with, that collaboration is important.
I'm going to stop sharing right now, real quick.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the biggest things. We have an attorney. And guess what? The low monthly service fee that you pay for us, you'll see that on the website, includes that attorney. We'll send attorney letters. Now, if you hired the attorney for something separate, if you're getting sued or there's a lawsuit or something like that, or you got to deal with the IRS with the legal, that's different. But as far as the attorney representing you on the accounts that we dispute at the bureaus, that's part of our service.
Got it. Yeah.
So
Um, you've mentioned several times as far as location that you've done events in Florida. Now, big, are you a national company or is it really just Florida? Because I know with us as lender, I mean, I know the answer, but I just want to clarify for people. I'm a
sure.
licensed lender in Georgia and Florida, but in your case,
Sure.
who do you
That's a
work
great
with?
question. Here's the rule of thumb, and I'll tell you how it works. And again, transparency. The rule of thumb is that we need to be licensed and or bonded in the state in which our client resides if we're in that state advertising in that state. Okay.
Oh,
So here's how it works for us. We're in Florida. We're licensed and bonded in Florida. So we can actually do business all over Florida. We have a website. It's national. If someone contacts us from another state, as long as we're not in that state advertising and setting up shop, I don't have to necessarily be licensed there because I can't control somebody going to my website. We'll
mm,
operate from here. We'll be able to do the business from here. Now, by default, there's like 14 states or 13 states that do not have licensing requirements or bonding requirements. So we're automatically licensed in those states. Like West Virginia is one of them. I think Missouri's one. North Carolina, South Carolina. There's a couple like that. We're automatically in that state. And the other ones, I tell them, if we're going to get a lot of business from a state, like we're getting a lot of business from Texas and from New York, because people down in South Florida are from New York, so they go back and forth.
mhm.
Eventually, if we start to advertise in those states, we'll need to be licensed and bonded in those states. And I'll share a success with you, which I'm really excited about. I had a friend of mine contact me. I hadn't seen in almost 20 years. He is now the executive director for the Ohio Mortgage Bankers Association. He is having a home buyer summit in April, a big event for the entire Ohio Bankers Association, and has asked me to speak,
Wow.
which is huge. Now, the reason
Yes.
I think this is huge is because I've always wanted to be licensed in Ohio. So I said, this is going to prompt me to do that because when I go there, I will be advertising my company. So in order to do that, I need to be licensed and bonded in there. And guess what? Ohio is the hardest state out of all 50 states to be licensed and bonded for credit repair.
Wow.
But I'm up for
Is
the
there a
challenge.
reason?
Yes, you got it. There's a 17-page application. You have to have a $50,000 bond. You have to have an NMLS number. You got to write a letter to the division of the banks and they got to approve you. You have like all these stipulations and requirements. And my coach, I have a business coach who's a national credit repair company specialist, and he's got one of the best coaches as well. So we get the benefit of that. He had his attorney do all the paperwork. He says, Tim, it is so much paperwork. I just gave it all to the attorney.
I
He
actually did
says, if
not
you like
realize you
to do
guys need all
paper,
that.
yes, yes.
Sorry.
Now, most states don't. Down here, we're bonded, we're licensed in Florida, and we have to renew our bond every year, things like that. But Ohio is the hardest one.
Wow.
It's where I'm from. So now okay, I know I have a lot of realtor friends there and a lot of mortgage brokers up there, and I didn't want to advertise in that state for that very reason. But
Mhm.
it looks like now it's coming back that I'm going to have to do that, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
So,
Congratulations. At home is calling you to bring some
I
education.
know, right?
And speaking of education again, when you mentioned that you educate and you teaching, so that they don't necessarily come back for the same reasons, is it like a mindset shift that you're having to do when you study, you empower them? So how do you empower them? Because a lot of things on credit, I mean, things do happen, right? There are circumstances, there's a death, or there's a, very hard situation, people losing a job. But there's sometimes when I look at clients' credit, there's a pattern. There is a okay, I just forgot or I just didn't like kind of slack about it. So what do you do when you educate? You don't have to go in detail, but are you
No,
coaching them?
it's a paradigm shift. You're exactly right. It's the whole thought process. So we start in the beginning. I ask them questions. We go through and talk about their bills and how they're paying their bills and are they on time? How do they spend? How do they use their credit card? Right? Is it like a savings account or is this a emergency need kind of thing? And I say we're going to talk about this throughout the process, and it's a paradigm shift. I help them change the way they look at credit and the way they look at spending.
Mhm.
But also, you brought something else up too. When I do my presentations and I talk about things that happen, I call them life events. You just mentioned them. A life event like a divorce, a death in the family, an illness, a bankruptcy, a loss of job. Those are life events that you can't necessarily prevent from happening. And
Mhm.
that's when you got to deal with them. But that's different from the paradigm shift because we have habits. We all have money habits and how we our relationship with money and how we do with credit. So we teach them and we help them to change that paradigm.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so important because even for first time buyers, that is that paradigm from nobody has owned, so can I, will I, should maybe it's not supposed to happen. It creates that fear because it's not in their habit in of seeing the environment. And it's the same with credit. If they're not used to having, I know with my stepdaughter Maya and some of her friends, we used to do Dave Ramsey coaching classes, like to teach them
Yes.
because early on needed her to understand how it worked. Maybe because me being in the financial world, um, but I could see with some of her peer friends, they had no concept, and it goes with the whole education. And
They don't teach it in school. They don't
that
teach it in school. We,
right,
yeah, they don't
yeah.
teach you how to save in school. They don't teach you what credit is at all. They teach everything else, but they don't teach that.
Right, because if they did, the students who are in college who don't have a job and are being offered the credit cards when they're coming out of school, they would not be signing up for them because they were like,
I
how am I going
know.
to
Did
pay
that
for
happen to
this?
you? My
No, I
first
used
credit
to
card was
hear
an
that.
Amoco gas card was my first credit card. I didn't own a car, but I had the card. So I was the one on the weekends, like my friend who had a car, I bought the gas or went and got the beer or whatever else we're going to get for the weekend. Whatever, to have some fun. I had the credit card, but no car and no job.
And the job to pay it
Right?
back.
They give
Exactly.
it to me anyways. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I'll ask you another question that didn't ask you before. So
sure.
probably I'm not
Like,
putting you on your spot.
no, I
What
love put me on the spot. I love it.
what brought you to go from banking to now having this passion for helping people with credit? I know you mentioned like you've gone through your own, that's
Sure.
why you know how to help clients. But what brought you
Right.
to say, you know what, this is what I want to do?
So I'm a firm believer in signs from the universe. Like something's telling me something, right? So in 2008, when the housing bubble burst and I was in mortgages, I felt that it hit me hard, and my credit took a hit because I was living high off the hog. I was young, I didn't know much about credit. I was just spending and not paying that much attention to it. But I was in mortgages, and I learned a lesson there. Well, then when I moved to South Florida, I had somebody living in my house in Ohio, and the realtor put somebody else in there off of Craigslist, getting me a better deal. But that person squatted in my home for 9 months, Christelle. And I was paying my first and second mortgage here, up there, so that I could keep my perfect credit. And I just kept paying it. And then I had to go through a legal process and evict her. Well, then my credit took a hit because I couldn't continue that month after month after month.
Hmm.
Because down here, I quit corporate America and started my own business, and it was very slow in the beginning. So I wasn't making any money. But the problem was my credit took a hit. I said, here it is again. Second time around, what's going on? So when I did some research to fix my credit, I stumbled across a company that offered an opportunity to make it into a business. I took it, I ran with it, I created my business. I got a business plan. I met with a branding specialist to help me brand my company. So we just built it and built it from that. That was a long answer to your short
No,
question.
it's perfect.
I had another situation with my credit. And I said, this is what it is. And then when I was in credit or when I was in banking up in Ohio, one of the realtors and I talked about starting our own business. because you probably have this happen when you're helping clients with their credit. They're probably saying, you should do this as a business. You're so good at this. I'm imagining that you are. And they're like, you should do that as a business. Well, the bank paid me to do that. And I decided I wanted to do that on my own because I had a passion for it because I went through it again. And the universe was saying, okay, Tim, this is the second time we're throwing this at you, another credit situation. Do something with it. And that's what I did. And it's going on 8 years and I haven't looked back.
That's great for sharing how that started. And I also want to say that as a lender, I say I don't fix credit. So
Oh,
this
you
is what
don't?
I
Okay.
do. No, this is what I do though,
Sure.
because I want to stay in my lane, kind of like realtors. They have some level of education for, okay, this is maybe what you can qualify, but they don't want to overstep. I prefer
Sure.
for someone like yourself, an expert, because you know all the details and legality. However, as a lender, I do have the ability to pull credit and do a credit simulation,
Like a
right?
rescore.
Right, a rescore. But I'm going to really focus on what I know is going to be important for the approval of a loan. I mean, there could be a collection on there that I'm not going to necessarily look at because it's maybe not important because it's less than $2,000. But that so I do have a computer generated simulation and I know, the 30%, the basic items, and then we just keep playing with the numbers. But I honestly rely on that because credit is so specific based on the longevity of the credit and other items. But all the other details that you said that 79% of errors, I don't go as a lender through those details. And I really want to stay in my lane of my expertise is finding the best solution for the program, the mortgage. Credit to
Right.
me is very intense. Like if I have to do a paradigm shift on that mindset, that to me is a lot I prefer for
Time
the
consuming.
expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes you away from what you're really good at and what you can be doing to do
Mm-hmm.
that. It's a lot of time. And I spent a lot of time doing that when I was doing mortgages, probably more than I should have, but I wanted to do that. And that's where
Yeah. And I do tell clients like when I give you a credit simulation or I have a plan, because not all clients necessarily if the credit is okay. When I say okay, it's going to be maybe a 640 or 680 and they can still get financing. I'm not going to necessarily say, hey Tim, can you help fix this credit? Because it can move forward even if it's not over 700. Right. But if
right.
they're working, actually, I was just talking to Jaws, a client who's working on his credit. And he has great income, tight on asset, but his credit score is not where it needs to be to get our 100% financing. So he's working on it. I think he's been burned with credit repair companies before,
Yeah.
but he needs a
Yeah.
mindset shift as well. So I'm going to ask him to reach
Okay.
out to you.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
have a conversation. Yeah.
So what I do as a lender is I will stay in touch with the client for accountability. You know, how is it going? What's going on? Because really I can best help in when you're ready. So that's why I wanted to do this call so I can share with those who are seeing this message that there are experts out there. And honestly, sometimes I would think with the Instagram and the social media, so many people are sharing information. Oh, this is how you can fix your credit, but they don't necessarily have the depth of education, of expertise, but also your rating
Right.
to back up what you do.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's important.
Yeah, and I would just say another thing for people to be careful when they look for credit repair companies, because if you hear a company saying, we can increase your score 100 points in 90 days, we can make sure this is all taken care of. There's no guarantees, Christelle. And what's happening, unfortunately, more and more often, and they're going to get caught on this, is they're having clients either claim the account's not theirs or getting affidavits saying that it's not theirs so they can send it into the bureaus and claim identity theft and then get everything. It's called a credit sweep. They'll just get everything out of there and it's done illegally. And also another thing people do is they're selling trade lines. I don't know if you heard this before,
I was going
but
to ask
like,
you about that.
hey, yeah, we do not do that. That's not ethical in our opinions. But there'll be like somebody in California with a $25,000 American Express selling that, and authorized users, and somebody over here on the East Coast is selling those trade lines for $100 a piece or whatever to somebody who doesn't even know that person in California and putting it on their credit to get a better credit score. And we don't like that. That's not ethical in our opinion. We encourage you to do that if you have a relative, like if a husband or a wife, was on one card, put the other one on there, or maybe your child or your mother or father or something, that's okay.
Right.
That's how you want to do it. But you know the person giving you that ability to have that authorized user on your credit, not a total stranger in another state that you never met.
Right. The ethical part of it is very important because I've also seen personal clients' credit that they can put an authorized user and it seems like everything is okay, but you never know what that authorized user situation can change. And now your credit is shot because they have a
Yeah,
whole change in their
exactly. They could
life.
do anything. Yeah, and if they're using the credit irresponsibly or they max out the credit card, you're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
S-
point.
So Tim, thank you so much for all this information. Of course, I will have your details besides what we share on the screen. But what would you like to leave us with? What's your last comment or feedback
You know
to
what
the
I'll say?
audience?
Thank you for that. First of all, I just want to thank you so very much.
Mhm,
Truly, it's been an honor and a thrill to be here with you in this short time together. And I really love talking about credit. I love talking about what we do to help others.
mhm,
It's just a great feeling when you know you can help somebody else. I would just say for everybody right now, we're heading into the holiday season. We get a lot of customers in January and February. That's our biggest months of the year because of what happens in December. Just be careful. Watch it out there. One of the things that they're doing right now, Christel, is at the register, they're offering you to pay later and do it in installments. There's a lot of stores or retailers doing that. Just be careful because if you mess up with that, there's a lot of interest that's going to hit you all at once. It can mess up your credit as well. So you got to be careful with that. Just watch your spending over the holiday season and I think Dave Ramsey says this, and a lot of other people try to live below your means. Just have a budget in mind when you go shopping, and just give gifts that you don't have to spend a lot of money on. It'd be nice to like send somebody a gift card or maybe make them something or just something small that you can you know wish somebody a happy holiday and not have to go out and spend all your credit card money and go into debt over Christmas. So just I would say just be careful and have a good holiday season,
I love how you
whatever
did
holiday
a
you
paradigm
celebrate.
shift there too, though. You're like, let's
Did
shift
I?
how you actually spend during the holidays this year. I love that.
It's not, I know that they can do what they
But
want
it's
to do,
great
truly, but
idea. No, I
yeah,
agree with you because sometimes
careful.
we feel like we have to do it a certain way
You don't have
because it needs to look good. But in reality, sometimes a simple item that's from the heart, just take a moment.
the
It's like,
heart.
what could
Yeah,
be an easy thing that I can do that I can make myself or create without overspending. Mostly because if you are in communication with Tim or myself, that means you have a goal, and that goal is to invest into either real estate or create a new business. So you don't want to just not cut yourself short again, back to square one, or having to take some steps back. Stick with your goal. Stick with your goal of home ownership and spend less, but know that you have that goal of getting your home. So the great idea for and like you said, not to be caught up with the accrued interest on credit cards from the offers from current incentives. So awesome.
exactly.
Do you want to go ahead and bring your cow back?
We could do that. Let's finish down here. Let's get our cow back here. I really like this guy. Some days I feel like a cow, right? Some days I feel like a nut. Some days I feel like a cow. But this one here, just really, I like how he blinks his eyes here. That's me. But I appreciate you so much, Christelle. You're
Thank you,
awesome.
Tim.
This has been awesome. And I think that everybody who hears this is going to get something from it. So
Agreed. Thank you so much, Tim.
thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
All right. You take care.